So, John, what were your thoughts when you were asked to come on board?
Um, I was super excited. Like for me, I mean, me and you, Ollie, we went to film school together. We kind of like have the same sense of humor in that regard. We kind of know, I don't know, we kind of have the same taste in that kind of regard. So just when you were explaining the whole project to me and just kind of like what you and Charles were developing, kind of caught my attention right away, and kind of something that I was always kind of in for and down to kind of join. And I mean, just even reading the Chuck character and everything that he's based off of and all the kind of parts that go into it and everything. I mean, it's just something that seems right up my alley, and kind of something that, again, I appreciate stories that come from a bit of truth and a bit of chaos. And it seems like that's very much so with this one. So again, kind of just seemed like a naturally good fit, and something like I love working with Ollie. And I mean, I'm excited to work with you, Cameron. I'm excited to work with you, Charles. No, we've met a few times, Charles, and stuff like that. And again, I think we all kind of share a similar sense of humor. We share a similar kind of taste in that, and our comedy and all that kind of stuff. So it just, again, seems like a very natural and like good fit. And again, really liked like when Ollie showed me like the first draft and everything, what you guys wrote. I thought it was great. Thought it was really well put together. And again, when this stuff comes from truth like that, you just tend to get way better results and just kind of hits more.
Yeah, Cameron, what brought you on board as well?
I mean, directing at the moment is kind of a little tough, because for everyone like our age, you're kind of at that point where you're trying to get into the film industry and you're trying to create work that's going to put your name out there, and that's very hard to do when it only comes from you. Like at this kind of stage, especially with filmmaking, a lot of it kind of falls on sort of early filmmakers early in their careers to basically do everything themselves. So you have to basically create the idea from scratch, make sure it's really good, shoot it yourself, edit it yourself, market it yourself. It's a lot of pressure to put on one person. So I was kind of, during COVID, really struggling because COVID like paused absolutely everything for me. But yeah, at the time, I think this was 2021 when I first got shown the actual Parrot script. I think the idea of me directing it wasn't the conversation. The conversation was, hey, we've got this script. You've got loads of time. What do you make of it? I mean, I was doing a master's degree, but I had loads of time because, that degree was terrible. But I had loads of time basically, and I came back during the second major lockdown in the UK, and I was just like, we can't do anything creative. We can't see our friends. We can't shoot anything together for months. What do we do? And Charles was like, well, here's this project. Here's one of the scripts that we've got that is probably the strongest one that we've got so far. Because I think you had like a couple at the time.
Yeah, we have.
And you're like, here's our strongest one. What do you think? And it was just an opinion thing, like just ask for like a second opinion for my input on like what I thought of the script, the structure, and that kind of thing. And it wasn't even a thing of, hey, we're going to shoot this. What do you think? It was just, hey, here's a script we've been working on. It's fun. What do you make of it? And it was I would sort of describe it as kind of like a bit magnetic. Like I read the script and very quickly I was like, not only is this a funny script and it's a really good script, this is actually shootable. And that's one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to like early career directing is a lot of people come up with ideas where it's like, yeah, but how are you going to actually shoot that? It's just the ideas are too big for what you can achieve with the resources you have. Like it comes down to money, connections, time, cameras, lights, everything. I think people are a bit too ambitious sometimes. But this one, I was like, this is a house party. You can shoot this in a house with some people and some friends. This wouldn't actually be hard to shoot. And from then it was just a thing of, I think the conversation after that, like I gave feedback on the script. I was like, I really loved the story. I think it was really fun. And I was like, I mean, I went to film school as well for about 4 years. And I was like, this is single-handedly the funniest and best put together script I've read, which is pretty worrying considering Charles never went to film school. And I went to film school with actual like writers who studied writing.
And me and Ollie are the least funniest and least put together people that you know as well. So,
yeah, exactly. So it was kind of funny that I've been reading people's scripts for years, people my age's scripts, and I was just like, well, you know, this is like not very, it's either not very original, or it's not very truthful, or it's not very honest, or you know, that kind of thing. But this script, I was like, wait, this idea is actually incredibly clear. It comes from an honest place. It's not trying too hard. It just is. And I was like, I said to them, you really don't understand how rare this is, because I've just been to film school. I've read those scripts and just gone, I get nothing out of this. Like these scripts are not proper ideas. They're not even well developed ideas. They're either a bit cynical, too simplistic, or too unrealistic. I do think people our age do struggle to find ideas, and especially write them as well. It's an art form. You have to know what you're doing and understand it, and then also be good at it. And this script, I was like, this is actually really well written, but it's a really, really good story, and it's shootable. So straight away, I was just like, the sort of gears were in my head when it came to like production. I was like, well, you know, you could shoot this, right? Like, this is actually shootable. And at the time, it was like, well, this is an episode of a TV show we might shoot in the future. And that, when I first got told that, I was like, okay, whenever that happens, like, it's one of those things that just, it's very hard to achieve that kind of thing when you're in your 20s. So I was just like, yeah, I guess in the future. But this script, I was like, you could film this now. Just film it now, basically. Like, do it as like a spec or a pilot or something, because this would actually work. And then the conversation sort of turned into, why don't we just make that into a short film that we kind of use as like a springboard to sort of launch all of these characters and the story of the series and just kind of get the ball rolling. And once we started framing it in those terms, it was really clear that this was actually going to be doable. And I think at that point, me, Charles, and Ollie chatted, and it just became pretty clear, like, because the original script that I read was like consistent with the series, where there's plot threads from future episodes and earlier episodes. It was kind of like, it felt like it was part of a series, and I had to sort of be quite brutal and say, okay, we'll take this out, take that out, and take that out, push it together. You've basically got a very self-contained story that really works by itself really well as a film, but also you're getting a really good sense of these characters quite quickly for 20 minutes or less than 20 minutes. I was just like, this is very, very doable once you take out certain bits and restructure a little bit. And we just basically then went through a process of constantly talking about the script and how to structure it for a short film. And again, the whole idea of me directing wasn't even the conversation. The conversation was, this is a really good script. How can we turn this into something that we can shoot? It then got to a point, I think we were like two or 3 months into it, where I think I'd invested too much in the story and the script, because I was like, yeah, I'm starting to want to like have this, like I want it, basically. It just got to a point of like, we've worked really hard at it, and it's really come a long way. We're really enjoying it, and there's still this sort of mystical air of like, yeah, but who would direct it? And I'm sort of going, yeah, just give me, just please.
and I think like I'm very new to, so this is my first film that I've ever been involved in, first project. Me and Ollie have been writing together for a while, but kind of on a casual basis, right?
Yeah.
And just kind of like for fun more so. And then this was us, and like coming over the barriers of like working from a different country. So those who don't know, me and Cameron are based in the UK, and Ollie and then Jonn are both based in Vancouver. So a bit of a distance. Just a little fraction of a distance. And yeah, Ollie, that proved to have some challenges, didn't it?
It was quite difficult because the energy you can get writing in the same room as someone else, ideas can just bounce off the wall. It's really easy to stay on the same level. It's really easy to read the other person's body language as well. Whereas as soon as you put a camera, a continent, and an ocean in between you, everything seems slightly harder to read, and it's hard to gauge where the other person's ideas are going. Because when I came back for Christmas, we had a little writing session just to patch one of the scenes, and it took us 20 minutes to fix it. Whereas if we were stuck something similar when we tried to patch a scene, it's taken us a year.
Because the whole process, writing or anything, it's all problem solving, right? So you come up with a problem, and then you're basically spending a period of time having to solve it. So that could be with film logistics, but in terms of story, in terms of the script, because we wanted it to be, you know, we're showcasing, as I said, these two insane stories. We want to do them justice, and also just create something that's entertaining to watch, you know, like, and that actually requires a lot of back and forth, a lot of discussions, way more than I think people would potentially anticipate when writing a project. It's taken us about a year and a half to write this 20-minute film, I'd say, and then nearly 3 years of development in terms of like the characters and stuff. And, you know, a lot of things have changed on the way, but it's just, yeah.
But again, I think that time would have been cut down considerably if we were in the same room.
Yeah, it is what it is. But we're very proud of the project, and as Cameron quite rightly said, like, it's been a lot of development, a lot of back and forth. But we're currently in the midst of pre-production, and that's as stressful as that is. I feel like a little bit now more of a smoother process than coming up with the ideas for the film and trying to nail those ideas. And, you know, it's also really helped that we've had the film partially cast for ages as well. That's been great. Jonn's been on board probably since the beginning, haven't you? Like,
I think
I think I remember
before
like
we wrote Parrot.
Yeah, I remember like even like I think we did. Oh God, I mean like last summer or in like the winter or fall. I think we did like a little discussion over Zoom, and you guys were writing some drafts and kind of still workshopping a few things. But yeah, I think over a year I've kind of been in the know about this and kind of been chatting to Ollie, especially, but then you as well, Charles. So I think it's been about that. And I think another thing for me too is just like reading some of your older drafts and everything like that, and just like from the get-go, it's just a really fun concept. Like the whole idea of it and just everything is just something that I feel like works really well for a kind of 20-minute like short film. And yeah, you can springboard from it and everything. And just the concept too of the parrot is really cool. And I just love like the way you're going with the parrot. So do you guys maybe want to touch on that a little bit, like the design of the parrot and like kind of what the inspiration behind that was?